Hi, this video is going to be all about my cross-stitching projects. I did mention them briefly in the very first video that I uploaded, but this one I'm going to go through like all the details and also like my method for cross-stitching as well. So the first one is Mountain Stream, which will look like this. Oops. And it's on 14 count Aida, which means there's like 14 squares per inch, and this is my progress. So I started in the centre and worked out and my stats for that one are, so I kind of measure my cross stitching in squares, so like the pattern that you get, it's like squares of 10 by 10, so I just count roughly how many squares there are and track my progress through that, because I don't use a PDF tracker, so I just like manually colour the squares in when I've stitched them. So obviously I don't count the number of stitches I do. So in that project there are approximately 310 squares and I've completed roughly 19, so I'm 6% through. I might try and finish this one by the end of the year, probably not likely, but we'll see. My original goal was to finish my Van Gogh project, but I'll talk about that one next. These are all the threads. I think they could be DMC threads, but I'm not 100% sure. There. And them ones. So yeah, I'm using 2 threads over 1 square to stitch it. And yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll pick like 1 thread and then just like focus on that one, like go as far as I can with the 1 thread, so I kind of jump about quite a lot, so like the back is really messy, but that's just how, that's all my cross stitch projects are like. So yeah, that's that one. So that's my favourite project right now. The next one is Van Gogh. So I have mentioned this before. I'll put a picture on the screen of what the painting is. It's Wheatfields with Cypresses. This was my very first cross stitch project that I started back in 2020. So I didn't really know what I was doing, and I started right in the corner here instead of starting in the middle, because I didn't realise you actually have like a frame allowance around the edge, so you'd have like an inch or 2 empty, but now I don't. So it's all, oops, really frayed. I don't know if it'll focus, but it's all really frayed there. And the other mistake I've made, which I only realised, well, I realised like a month or so ago now, and I haven't touched it since I've realised, but I've double stitched, or like double counted the centre line. So on the pattern it has like, it's like greyed out for the centre, and then that greyed out, so those 2 greyed columns are then repeated on page 2, but I didn't know it was repeated, so I've stitched it twice. So since I realised, I've just like parked it, like I haven't touched the project because I didn't know what I was going to do. I could either make up 2 extra columns on the end, because like I've stitched the full width of it now, like I've made the mistakes, so I can either add 2 random columns on the end, like stretch the pattern along to fill in like the extra that I've done, if that makes sense, or I can just unpick like these 2 columns here and then just try and like fudge the rest around it. So I've been thinking about it. I think I'm probably just going to unpick them because there's not actually too many to unpick. It probably will be a bit messy, but I don't want to risk running out of thread if I try and add in 2 new columns, and then it's just more stitching to do as well. So I think I'm going to unpick them. But yeah, my original goal was to finish this by the end of next year, but because I've not been working on it, I'm probably not going to meet that goal, and I want to finish the mountain and the stream instead. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this one, but I do really like it. So yeah, I think this one is on to slightly higher count Aida than the other one. This could be like 16 count. So it just means like the squares are smaller, so like the stitches are smaller. So it'd be like 16 stitches per inch. And these are the threads that I'm using. These ones definitely are DMC because I got this off the DMC website. And if you like want to start cross stitching on the DMC website, there's loads of like, sometimes like free downloadable patterns that you can use. So I would recommend having a look. But yeah, these are the threads. Yeah, that's that project. My progress on that one is I keep track of all my projects on Notion. I also mentioned Notion in my last monthly reset video, so I've like tracked like how many squares there are to complete, like my percentage progress, how many squares I've done, what's remaining and stuff like that. So I've completed 39 squares on that one out of 285, so I'm 13% through. Although those numbers will be a bit off because I double counted those extra columns, there'll actually be a few less stitches to do. But yeah, it's about 13% anyway. Then my last project, which I don't really work on that often, is called Paris Flower Market. And this is the biggest project that I've got. Let's find... Oh, yeah. Yeah, Paris Flower Market. So I got this off the same website as I got that Mountain Stream one. It was called... It says Oz Creative. I might try and find the website. I'm sure it was like UK cross stitch or something. Yeah, this is also 14 count Aida, and this is my progress. So yeah, this is like a lot bigger than the other ones, and I've really not done a lot here. But yeah, my stats for that one. There's 540 squares, and I've done 5.
What's my final score?
6.
Woo! And how many do I need to pass?
6.
Ooh.
100.
What?
Which is 0.9% progress. I don't have any goals for this one. It's just, I just really like the picture, so it'll happen when it happens. Maybe 5 years, who knows. And then these are all the threads, which is a lot. Oh gosh. And this one. So yeah, that's the biggest project. And that's it for my progress. So I'll next show like how I cross stitch my techniques. Yeah. So this is my cross stitching setup. I usually sit on the sofa and like watch YouTube on my tablet. I'm going to work on Mountain Stream. I've got my threads. pen for marking off the sheet and my needle threader. So what I do is I look at the pattern and choose, it's like each symbol represents a colour. So like I'm going to choose to do 5, which is, well, you then use this code here. So like 5 is thread 310, which is black. So then you go to the threads and they're all numbered. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's this one. So I'll take it off here, and then I just pull off a single strand. And then put the rest of it back on. Okay, and then with the single strand, because I'm doing 2 threads over 1, I fold this strand in half. And find the middle. Then using my needle threader and my needle, you put the needle, thread it through the little hole in the top of the needle, then put the thread, I don't know if you can see this very well on the camera, but put the thread through the threader, like that, and then pull the threader out of the needle, and then it's in. I don't know if I can, it's in the needle. And then you pull it so that the shorter end is the 2 ends of the threads, like that, and the long end is the loop folded over. And then I find where I'm starting on the pattern, so I start in, here, which is this section here. So there's a lot of counting involved in cross stitch, so sometimes you can like mark out your Aida with like 10 by 10 lines, so it's easy to count, like count it in sections, but I don't do that because my Aida is still quite big. It's probably more handy for higher counts. Okay, so I'm starting here. So I bring the needle through, and then bring this closer, and then back through the other side. And then what you do is on the back here, oh, okay, pulled it right through. Try again, pull it through one end, back through, and then instead of pulling it all the way through in the back, you, take the needle and put it through that loop that you made, so it kind of ties it securely in the back. And it's just really neat because you don't have to like tie a knot in the thread. It's kind of, because it's already looped, it just works a lot neater like that. And yeah, and then it's secured and you're good to go. So I just cross stitch from there. Like that. And then yeah, I just carry on and follow the pattern with that one colour. Future Bethan here. I realised I didn't actually show in detail how I was doing a cross stitch, so I've just quickly recorded this on my phone to show my actual technique. And then I have my needle minder here, which is a magnet to keep hold of your needle. And then when I'm done, I just leave the threads loose at the back because like as you're stitching, you kind of stitch over them and it like secures them in place, but you can obviously like trim them to make them neater, but I just haven't done that. I usually like stitch for as long as I can until the thread's like as short as possible. But yeah, that's my cross stitch technique. And I do that for all my cross stitches. And yeah, I hope that was useful.